So, morning, everyone. It's lovely to have you here, those live and those listening to the recording. We are speeding towards the end of the year at the rate of knots, and feels like we're all just trying to catch our breaths. And I hope that this moment can be one that we can catch our breaths. And we've just had a lovely weekend down in the Eastern Cape, going to Pips's Quest graduation. And it was really such a profound thing to see the experience that these youngsters have had, to see some of the drills that they've had to do, learn about some of the hikes, the epics, the activities. And I know I've mentioned quite a lot um, along the way, as we've had our mindful moments as Pips has been at Quest, but it really was remarkable. And hearing some of the speeches, one of the young men, a German young man who joined the spring program, which is the one that started in September, and they're youngsters ranging from 17 to 22. So it's not just for sort of 18, 19. Anyway, he said he really did not do his homework about Quest. He thought it was going to be a bit of a summer camp, a well-structured summer camp where he'd learn a little bit about values and learn a little bit about life skills 101 and maybe do some sunbathing. And when they arrived on the bus and he walked into the Quest Center and the instructors were waiting with the razors to shave off their hair. He said he didn't expect anything like that. And then they were told to be parading at 6 a.m. in their uniform and everything, their Quest uniform. He was completely shocked and he thought this can't last, that this wouldn't last more than a day or two. And needless to say, he was late for his first one. And so he had his first trip up Punishment Hill, PH, which is what you do if you're late or if you forget something or um, if your room's not clean, you have to do a PH, which, as he says, is much like a mountain. So he thinks it should be called PM, not Punishment Mountain, not Punishment Hill, because it's a steep, steep hill that they have to run up. Colin and I did hike up it, and then you go down through a whole lot of bushes and things, right down to the bottom, and then sort of back around. But it really is a life skills thing, teaching you can do hard things. And so by the end of it, obviously his whole attitude had changed and he'd realized what it was all about. And yeah, it was a lovely story to hear. But I did a little bit of an Instagram post on it. So there's a few photos and a little bit of a snippet of Pips's speech and her assault course, if you're interested in knowing a bit more about Quest. But two of the poems that they have to learn when they're there are quite profound, and I thought I'd share them with you today in our mindful moments. And just to say that we're heading towards the full moon at the beginning of December, and this time keeps coming up astrologically as such a profound time of change, and that it's up to us to choose our pathways. And yes, suffering, there is always suffering, there will always be suffering in our world, and hard things happen, but we can still choose every day our attitude, how we do things, how we carry on, how we hold ourselves. And that I think is so much around the messaging on Quest. And Pam Gregory, and perhaps I'll share a little snippet of one of her talks on our Mindful Moments group. She's really encouraging us to raise our vibrations and to keep our vibrations high at this time and set the tone, because it's almost like at this time astrologically, we're stepping into a time that we've never seen anything like it astrologically. And it's so hard even for the astrologers to describe. But she said it's almost like we're setting a tone for things to come. And so it's really about raising our frequency, raising our vibration, being conscious about our habits, our processes, what we do in our days and in our lives. And just going back to Quest, just to share a little story and insight. So A lot of the youngsters then came to St. Francis with us on Saturday, and they're still there. They're now about 15 of them. There were about 12 on Saturday. And we did a lovely braai for them, and we all watched the rugby. And I mean, they were all very helpful, pouring drinks and getting things prepared and things. And after the rugby, which was fabulous, I went to tidy up and pack things away in the fridge, and I couldn't believe it because everything had been packed away. Everything was in the fridge. No one had asked me anything. Platters were washed. The dishwasher was loaded. It was done. And then the next morning, I came downstairs about 7 to sort of get everything opened up, and there were half of them already up, even though they'd all been awake when we'd gone to bed. And the dishwasher was already unloaded. The place was opened up, and it was just really incredible to see these youngsters and to see how they've now had these very specific routines entrenched in them, and they may not last forever like this, but they'll have this deep-rooted anchoredness of what is the right thing to do, and how, and the responsibility that comes, and the freedom that you get through owning responsibility. So I thought I'd just share these poems with you and I'm sure you are familiar with both. Um, and as a sort of setting for our mindful moment and for taking us forward into the coming weeks and months. As I said, I had to learn these by heart. I don't quite know these by heart, but I actually, both of them are poems that we in our family have actually defaulted to quite often. So I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like, or just drop your gaze. Just settle into a posture of alert awakeness, of upright dignity, but inviting also perhaps a softening into your neck and shoulders, into your back, maybe checking in how your jaw is, softening into the jaw, and just allowing these words to land. The first poem is If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. And if I don't know if any of you have been to Wimbledon or have seen on Wimbledon as the players enter centre court, above them as they enter, there's the quote, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. So it really is a wonderful reminder of how we can choose to live. And then the other is the excerpt of the speech by Theodore Roosevelt at Sorbonne in Paris in April 1910. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again. Because there's no effort without error or shortcoming. But who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. So on that note, I invite us just to let these words settle. Perhaps noticing if there's a word or phrase that lingers for you. And then just letting all of it go, allowing it to drift away. And just settling into this moment. To this breath. For now, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. It's just to be here with ourselves, with this breath, with this moment. And following each breath in through the nostrils to the back of the throat, into the chest and belly. Noticing the expansion with the in-breath, with the inhale. And then following the softening, the letting go, the exhale. And if your thoughts start to wander, just noticing that they've drifted off, gently nudging them back, just to this breath. Noticing just how it feels to be in your body in this moment. Feet on the earth, seat on cushion or chair, spine reaching up out of our pelvis, up towards the heavens and the day-blind stars. Feeling into the strength and support at our spine, our pelvis, all the bones of our body, the femur, tibia, the feet, the bones of our neck, shoulder blades, arms, hands, the bones of our skull, noticing just the strength, support, and protection that they offer us. Our rib cage wrapping around. And then feeling into the softness that lies beneath, that hinges on, that cocoons around. feeling into both strength and softness. The giving and receiving of each breath. The duality of nature, of life, of triumph and disaster, of suffering and joy, of love and loss. And then just breathing consciously into our heart space as if there's a funnel in and out of our heart space. Taking a long, slow, smooth breath in, and then exhaling. Breathing in, breathing out. And continuing with this rhythm, just bringing your full attention to each breath. If you're needing to anchor your attention, just using words like breathing in, breathing out. And then inviting a feeling of gratitude into our heart space. You can just invite the feeling of gratitude, or you can attach it to something that you're grateful for from yesterday, from this morning, from your life in general. And breathing in and out of this feeling of gratitude. Noticing if it has a color or texture or shape or weight. Thoughts start to wander, just bringing them back to breathing in, breathing out, and the sensation of gratitude. If you feel like you'd like to anchor this in more, you might want to rest your hands on your heart space. And then I invite you to allow an image or vision of a loved one to arise. Perhaps someone who needs some love and support, someone you'd like to connect with. Maybe it's more than one person, maybe it's a group of people. And just inviting them into this bubble you've created in your heart space. Wrapping them up in the sensation of love and gratitude, like you might wrap someone in a blanket in a nurturing, nourishing way. Surrounding them with this light, this energy. Not attaching too many thoughts or words, but just the sensation. Sensation of deep connection, of deep benevolence, deep love. And then when you're ready in your own time, just taking a deep breath in and sighing out audibly. Coming back to the room or space you're in. And back to your whole body, just sensing into it from toes, ankles, knees, hips, pelvis, spine, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands, neck, head, face. And just feeling into all of them and gently moving into them when you're ready. Perhaps stretching out to inhabit the space that you're in. Opening your eyes when you're ready, taking it all in. Thank you for joining. I wish you a blessed day and week. Also, just to let you know, we have decided on doing a summer shed from the 19th of January, which is also a lovely time to reset. It starts with a new moon, and it's a good time to reset physically, emotionally, spiritually, and astrologically. So we'll start sending out the dates and registration links soon. So keep a lookout for those and put it in your diary and in your hearts, and it would be lovely to have you join us if you'd like. Just to say, we're not going to do it a specific juice fast as part of it. One can choose to do that as an extra if you'd like to, but the 10 days will be without the juice fast, although we will bring in juicing and liquids as well. Please feel free to unmute and share anything that came up for you, or anything that you think is pertinent, and otherwise, wish you a blessed day.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks, Angina. Lovely to see you again. Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
And I'll post those poems as well. Thanks, everyone. Take care. See you next week.